Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm at Margam Country Park in Port Talbot and I am on the lookout for deer. So in Margam in 1558 Sir Rice Mansell was granted permission to fence in the park. So the park covers 1,000 acres and the deer are able to roam 500 of those acres. There's a lot of land for them to explore. There are 3 herds at Margam. You've got the fallow deer, the red deer and the Perre deer, and they're the ones we're on the lookout today. So I'm in a pretty secluded area at the moment. I'm just having a look for signs of deer activity around. So I've also been joined by Dennis, who's from the Friends of Margam Park group, and he's one of the volunteer deer wardens. So he has a look at them, he knows a lot about them, he also knows some of them personally as well. So the idea is, with Dennis's help, I should be able to find some deer to have a look at. So coming down this area, been walking through a lot. So we've got some tracks, you can see just behind me. You see these tracks that go up? So these tracks are deer tracks. These tracks of what the deer's been using to move in and out of the bluebells. Having a look around as well, we also pointed out some grazing strips. So the grazing strips are lines in the trees where the deer has been feeding on. So here you can see on this line, got nice foliage up here, and then it's all been stripped down here. We are now heading towards the more boggy area of the park. Because the Perre deer are originally from China, they're from that boggy swamp type area, which is what their feet is perfectly adapted for, which mine aren't. So we're walking through all this terrain and you can see there's all deer tracks. In all these gaps we have got deer tracks. We're on the right path to finding them, so we're just looking for some wetter areas where they might be wallowing, because it is quite hot today. So coming out into this boggy area, still haven't found any yet. Oh, deer! We've got deer! So I'm sure you can see behind me we found the Perre deer. So the Perre deer are originally from China. Their name translates in Chinese to English as the 4 unlikes. So they have the antlers of a deer, they have the hoof of an ox or a cow, they have the neck of a camel and the tail of a donkey. I think we can all agree they look very, very odd. But they prefer this marshland area, so the path that we've just walked through that I was just showing you before we got here, it's very damp, it's very wet and boggy, which suits them perfectly. So they haven't started rutting yet, so all deer rut. But these guys, they haven't started yet. They tend to rut around June, July time. So we're just having a look through them, see if we can spot the 2 main stags. We've spotted a couple of youngsters having a bit of a tussle with each other. So because they haven't reached that maturity yet to compete for the dominant male position, they have a bit of a go. They have a little test with each other to see how the whole thing works. But luckily we've spotted 2 males which we think may compete later on. So they both have these big antlers on them, and they've started bellowing as well because there are 4 calves in this group. There's 4 baby deer in there. See if you can spot them. They are very small. But the Perre David's deer, they are vitally important because as of now, they are extinct in the wild, which means you can only see them in captivity. There's no more left in China at all. You can only see them now in places like Margam Park, or a couple of places across Europe, or in China, in zoos or in country parks, or in places that can hold them, because conservation efforts have failed to reintroduce them. There's no more left. There's none left in the wild. There's none roaming around China. You can just see them where they're kept, which is a shame really, because I quite like them, but to not have them in their natural habitats is a bit of a shame. We also found some fallow deer. So when Sir Rice Mansell first fenced in his park, he started off with the fallow deer. So the fallow deer were the first ones to be introduced here when it was first fenced. Now they have reached peak numbers of about 200 individuals, but they stay in small pockets, in small groups, so they don't mingle as one big herd. They stay in these little pockets, but they tend to like the shyer areas, so we've spotted some just in the trees. But we're having a look for red deer next, and apparently I have got a long way to climb. So the Perre David's like the marshland, the fallow deer like the trees, areas that there's lots of cover, because they are the smallest species. The biggest species here are Perre Davids. The next ones that are in the middle are the red deer, and I'm not talking about I've got a long way to walk. I mean, we're going right the way to the top of the mountain, because they like the hills, they like to climb around the hills. So we've got a long trek up the mountains. Hopefully we'll find some drop-ins. This is a deer antler. This is from one of the fallow deer that was here. But you don't have to kill a deer to find deer antlers, because they cast them, so they drop them off. When the males are done with them, as they grow, their antlers grow. But they don't just grow like us, where our bones grow with us. They cast them, so they drop them off, and they produce a bigger and better one the following year. So this one is fairly small. It's not all that impressive, but it's made out of the same stuff as our fingernails are. So it's one of the quickest growing bone structures. So it's not like our arms or our legs that take a while to grow. These grow within a year, so they grow very quickly. And if you've seen a deer that has cast its antlers, you'll see there's got a big wound on its head, and sometimes it's got blood dripping down its face. That's nothing to worry about. That's just because they've just lost part of their bone, and you can see how clean cut that is. So that is literally just plonked off. So when it's fallen off, you just find them scattered around. So they use these to compete with each other. So you can see this one is a bit damaged on the top. So this one has clearly been in a fight. But with our antler, this is very small. It's very thin, very small. The red deer have massive antlers, so we should be able to spot the males very quickly when we're going up looking for them.